Now I will take, yeah, if anybody want to say, no one?
Thank you, sir.
So, okay, so now I will take today's last session and discuss about a case study of one of my research project that was basically based on this IoT technology. So can anybody acknowledge, am I audible and my screen is visible to all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Quite audible.
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay, okay, sure, thanks. So today I will discuss about smart agriculture technology with this recent trend in IoT. Myself, Amit Bhati, and I'm working with IIT Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia, Awadh University, Ayodhya, as assistant professor. So, what about the ambition of implementing IoT technology in Indian agriculture industry? So, if we have seen a significant percentage of GDP, approximate about 18% is contributed by agriculture sector every year. And due to the uneven condition of soil as well as environmental conditions, most of the time the Indian farmers are not able to get the right production amount as they expect. And due to this deviation in this market need as well as the production, we have seen many times the raise in the inflation rate. So we have already seen that the rural economy have been most attractive issue in the all over the world. So in the last 10 years, IoT is emerging as a recent trend, and even we could able to see IoT is everywhere, even not even from Alexa, which is generally used for home automation, for which IoT was primarily developed. Not even from Alexa, even we can see IoT technology in agriculture, even in hospitals, that is in medical sectors. So all here, IoT is going to span his lengths. So to reduce the costs and cost and enhance rural labor efficiency, IoT technology is going to be launched in agriculture sector. So that's why the new companies or new stakeholders are going to participate in this. So now look at about IoT farming market overview. So the development of Indian agriculture has been from manual since last a decade. This Indian agriculture was done using manual method. If you could even see about some traditional technologies were there, and 15 to 20 years, it has been shifted from this manual approach to mechanical approach. And recently, due to the merge of technologies, IT technologies, it has been shifted to smart agriculture. We could see some greenhouses that generally used for production of particular crops like cherry tomatoes, like mushrooms. So for these kind of sensitive plants, they generally use smart agriculture. The application of IoT make great contribution to development of India, to the modern agriculture and intelligent agriculture. And due to availability of huge data processing and the availability of high-speed network, this objective of this IoT and the smart agriculture seems to be fulfilled. So if we could see about the structure and principle of IoT agriculture, we can divide this whole framework into 3 layers. At the bottom, there is a layer of sensors and actuators. Okay, so here you can see some sensors are there and some controllers are there, and using a gateway device, these sensors transmit their data, whatever they sense, the physical property. They transfer this data to a fixed network or mobile network. It again depend on the implementation, depend on the situation, what technology you are going to use. Okay, for small network, you will prefer to use Bluetooth connection. For long distance, you will prefer to use LoRa connection. Okay. Again, for any diverse location, you will prefer to use mobile network. Okay, for data transmission. So again, it's depend on what kind of device, what kind of technology you are going to use for your particular product. At the top of that, again, a cloud layer is there. The purpose of this cloud layer again depend on your choice. Maybe you want to record the whatever the data sensor records. You just want to log on the cloud server, maybe. Or it may be if you want to do some prediction or analysis work, there may be some artificial intelligence kind of algorithm work there, or machine learning algorithm should be there to analyze your data and make some prediction. Okay. Some example of this thing can be visualized by application layer. For example, smart irrigation system. Okay, smart pesticide or crop health forecasting system. So in the smart agriculture, this stack get followed if anybody want to make some smart kind of device for that. Okay. So there are some farming scenarios benefit for having such technology in agriculture segment. So overall, we could see the center part of this circle. We could see the real-time and accurate management of our agriculture or particular crop, large scale and dynamic automotive control of our devices, and but obvious surveillance of our crop, which we are going to produce. For the farmer end, the farmer can have a real-time equivalent to data of farming. He could able to know about the health of their crop, which kind of pest or which kind of disease their plant could suffer from in the near future, and in the some catastrophic condition, he can have a disaster alarm. So as far as farming consultants are there, they can analyze the data, okay, and make some valuable decision about that. For example, if a farming consultant identify that in the upcoming month there will be a attack of some fleas on particular crop, so he can suggest the farmer to spray some kind of pesticides to cure their crop. Okay. As far as the farming finance are concerned, the farming investment companies, insurance companies can surveillance about the particular crop or land, and based on their geographical data or health of the crop, they can identify the fake cases and make some decision on that. So moreover, controlling on corruption can be handled with this scenario. And for the local government authority, they can make some policies for rural marketing, for selling of their product. It can be done, and if we could see the overall benefit of that, all the things can be connected, all the markets from production to the customer, and all the chain can be connected with the help of this smart agriculture technology, right? There are some key benefits that we have achieved, not even me, when some of the researchers have obtained by implementing smart agriculture in various segments. Throughout the measure related to parameter by the IoT scheme compared to conventional irrigation, the IoT scheme can save water up to 67% by precision agriculture. This is a irrigation. So there is a research that has been taken place in America, and one of the scientists, Dr. Pressel, has showed that with the use of IoT technology, a farmer can save the water up to 67%. And you know, the scarcity of water is the biggest issue on this earth. So we quite need some IoT technology for smart precision farming. Saving human resource, yes. With the use of technology, we can save the human resource expense. Even one person can manage all the tasks instead of having a lobby of workers. Measuring mix rate of integrated soil, chemical, fertilizer, and water compared to conventional method. Yes, compared to conventional method, in the conventional method, most of the time there was a waste of chemical fertilizer because of the unawareness of chemical fertilizer, as well as the unawareness of the requirement of a particular plant for the particular fertilizer. So at the most of the time, what the plant need, we could not be identified, and at that situation, we will cover the whole land with the particular chemical fertilizer, and most of the time this fertilizer got wasted. Reduction in the waste, as well as we can hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please go
Yes.
ahead. But there
Okay.
is some interruption in between, though.
Okay. Maybe the network issue. Yeah. So we're using this technology, we can even save our mother earth. We can improve the quality of soil. So improve the greenhouse live rate and reduce the growth period, as well as by improving the production volume significantly. Okay. And even the farmers can use their precious time that even can they can enjoy holidays with their family members, instead of just spending a lot of time on their cropland. So it's again a social benefit to the farmers also. But implementing this smart IoT is not an easy task in Indian social environment, because there are a lot of issues, lot of challenges are there. For example, internet connectivity and availability is again a big issue in India. Still, we are still living on 4G environment, but 4G is not available everywhere. Even I could see in some of the villages where our project was deployed, there hardly that we could be able to achieve 2G or 3G connectivity there. So in the age of this internet, India is not it is not possible for India to cover the all over the land with the internet connectivity. So it's again a big challenge for us. Again, the low awareness of IoT device or technology among the consumers. The farmers are from the rural background. The people from rural background are not aware about the recent trends, recent technologies. Even they are not familiar about that. So they are not willing to go with that. So again, it's a constraint to implement such great thing in India, particularly in village or rural background. Lack of investment and ventures of capital funds. But I don't think it's a big challenge, because government of India is spending a lot of money and lot of efforts. Even they are providing some good they are implementing some good pilot projects to promoting some startup companies to have some innovative ideas and try to boost this Indian agriculture in a new dimension. Again, influences the human moral decision making, because it's again a social, because of the social issues in Indian human being. Technological transformation is again a typical task. Okay. So now I'm going to discuss one of my project, case study of one of my project that was named as Vigya. The name was taken from Vigyan. That's why it was we have renamed this Vigya. So it was basically an IoT-based smart farming system for diverse Indian climate condition, and this project was externally funded by AICT. The project, the technology transformation has been done with the patent on dated 15/8/2019. So I'm just going to elaborate what our project was, what the technology behind that, and how we was able to uh, forecast or predict the things from this project. There are some silent features of our project. Uh, Even with a single charge, our sensor node was able to live for 28 days, non-stop work with that. So you can imagine the how power optimization was done at the chip level as well as at the algorithm level. So as and when the data get collected by the sensor, the data get transferred to the gateway using a network of mesh-like structure. Okay, so using the mesh network, we transferred our data from this sensor to a gateway. The gateway device is directly connected to the cloud, and after collecting this data at the gateway node, we just aggregate the data and having the aggregation kind of mechanism, we reduce the data and then we transfer the data to the cloud machine. At the cloud machine, we have implemented already machine learning algorithm. So they could analyze the data and have some prediction result or some information about that. And this information could be analyzed by the remote, either by remote user or by the farmers. Even in some of the cases, this cloud service was able to send some alarming messages to farmer also, like in some adverse situation, like heavy rain or some kind of droughts are there. So in kind of such upcoming situation, it alert to the farmer about this upcoming weather conditions. So for charging and discharging, charging of our gateway as well as sensor devices, we have used renewable energy kind of sources like solar energy. And using some solar panels, we charge the batteries of our sensor as well as the gateway. Okay. So this was the design of our sensor node. If you could able to see, there are a lot of sensors are there. For example, EC sensors for sensing the electrical conductivity of soil. So we could able to identify the percentage of, or you can see the availability of salts in the particular soil. We have a pH sensor, industrial grade pH sensor, which could be able to identify the pH level of soil. Okay, because each and every time for a particular crop, to maintain a high production, we need to maintain pH of a soil stable in particular stage. There are various steps, various stages of a particular plant, which I will show in my next slides. So in order to maintain or in order to monitor the pH of particular soil, we have a pH sensor. Again, we have an NPK sensor. NPK is basically monitoring of nitrogen, potash, as well as this phosphorus. P is for phosphorus. So NPK is basically three primary component for growth of plant that the plant particularly need to grow in various stages. So this NPK values get grabbed by this NPK sensors, and all these sensors are get connected with the microprocessor board that is indicated here, the motherboard with the symbol. And for effective charging and discharging of this battery that is just depicted beneath this motherboard, this will manage by this power management module. So each and every time, if the power goes beyond a particular voltage, this power batteries get automatically charged with the help of solar panels. And to avoid overcharging, we have implemented some kind of mechanism to avoid these batteries to get overcharged. So to monitor environmental humidity and temperature, we have such temperature sensor, and to able to detect the light, so that we could be able to identify the direction of direction and availability of sunlight. We have ambient light sensors over there, and some of the research has been done by the research community has shown that with the help of some ultrasonic sound, we could able to repel some kind of mosquitoes, fleas, or termites, such kind of external animals that could damage our plants. So using this ultrasonic sound, we could be able to repel such kind of animals from our crops. So for doing that task, we have a piezoelectric frequency generator there. So this piezoelectric generator generates a sound wave from 30 kilohertz to 100 kilohertz. Okay. So using these ultrasonic sounds, we could be able to repel some kind of animals so that they could not be able to damage our particular crop. Okay. So these are some sensors that have been mentioned here with their industrial specification, or you can say industrial model number. After the data acquisition that has been taken place by sensor nodes, we initialize our network. So you could be able to see the algorithm net for clock synchronization, or you can say the synchronization of our network, because each and every time whenever a node is get up, it advertise itself and it get the part of the network. Actually, the network is automatically initialized and get up dynamically. So there is no static routing was there. So once the network get initialized, the cluster gateway, that was the gateway available for particular network, broadcast a token to all the sensor nodes for synchronization. So this task was done only once when the gateway was powered on. So once the gateway get power on, it broadcast a token to all the sensor nodes. As and when the sensors get this token, they advertise their timing, what timing they have. For implementing a timing, we have a real-time clock on the chip of this microcontroller board. So as and when they get packet from this cluster gateway, they calculate about the skew of the time duration in between the gateway timing and the timing of their sensor node itself. So in that situation, they could be able to identify the clock skew, and the behalf of this clock skew, they could be able to adjust their clock value, and they inform about their neighbors. So this algorithm continue to run once all the nodes get initialized and get synchronized with their flow. So once the network gets established, each sensor node send their data, and the sensor node encapsulate the data in a particular packet with the information like their node ID, packet ID, and sensor data, and broadcast this packet to all of the neighbors. Okay, with the hop counts. So on receiving each packet in the mesh network, sensor node just flood the packet to all the neighbors by reducing its hop count. So finally, when this data packet get received by their gateway, it unwrap the packet and obtain the recording whatever the sensor have. So in this manner, all the readings captured by the sensor nodes get recorded by the gateway also. So for implementing this task and for having a power optimization, we make a consecutive 50 measurement for each ecological sensor, and after that, for 30 successive time gap, it gets sleep, and the sensor node, after having a good number of measurement, it will go into sleep mode for 4 hours, and again after 4 hours it get woke up and continue to do this task again and again. So in this manner, we could be able to get the environmental reading just even in 4 hours, because we could able to see that the environmental condition could not be able to change in just a few minutes. It will take some marginal hours to get change from some particular temperature, particular wind direction, particular we can say humidity, from a particular range to a certain range. It needs some time. Okay. So after receiving the data from this sensor node, the gateway node pre-processes the data by applying this recursive filtering technique. So after applying the filtering technique, the gateway, which is also equipped with this GPS system, broadcast this data, whatever it has collected from the sensor, to the cloud network, along with its GPS condition for mapping of this data with the geographical one. So at the cloud layer, we have already our trained naive Bayes based model, which have a data set of last 5 years of cherry tomatoes. Basically, this project was tested on cherry tomato crop. in that was cultivated at Bassi village of Jaipur, Rajasthan. So we have 5 years consecutive data of this cultivation of this cherry tomatoes with the ecological conditions. So we have trained this neo-bias model with this data, and on the basis of that, you could be able to see the data set we were used in training out this neo-bias model. It can be depicted in the right hand side. Okay. So after training, we have applied this model to with the real-time reading, whatever we have captured from our sensor, and tested the model with that. So I will share the success rate of this train model in the later slide. So in the right-hand side, you could be able to see there are multiple stages of this cultivation of this cherry tomato plant, like seeding, transplanting, pollination, harvesting. There are multiple stages of cultivation of cherry tomatoes. So from day 1 to day 80, throughout this cycle, we have captured multiple readings of their ecological properties, along with the required the range of these ecological parameters. So these all the readings get feed to our trained neo-bias model, and based on that, be able to identify the next stage that the production will be good or not, and where the production where was the error, or you can say where was the loss could be taken place in the near future. So the model was able to forecast how much production you will able to have in near future with the current environmental condition, as well as for with the current soil properties. So with this our design system, we could able to achieve the production raise by 36% on an average, and this system was worked for last 3 years, and we have compared this technological advancement with the traditional farming technique, and you can see the comparison of both of the technologies with the production output that is given in the particular table here. So with the production traditional farming, we could be in the 2017 with the Kharif season, we could be able to achieve 330 quintal per acre, whereas in particular in the case of with IoT technology with our proposed system, we could be able to achieve 418 quintal per acre. So you could be able to see how much time and how much cost we could be able to save, and what was the quality of the production as well as, and the quantity of production has been raised with the use of the smart agriculture, okay, or smart agriculture technology. At the right hand side, you could be able to see the physical view of our sensor, our gateway, which was we have implemented and tested our test site, Bassi, Rajasthan. Again, there is a case study of Kisan project and Hellstrom app. This project was one of the topmost project of Ministry of State Agriculture and Farmers, and the principal investigator of this project was Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Balian. Sorry. So this project cover basically one district of each of state of Haryana, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra, and this project was the pilot project that run between 2015 and 16. Still, this project is also going on, and for implementing technology, they use space technology. For this, they've used Bhuvan satellite for mapping of their various agricultural land, and accurately they could able to identify the state of agriculture crops. So along with that, they also launched an Android app that was known as Hellstrom app, and this app was designed by ISRO, and this app was basically designed to help the Indian government identify the situation of Hellstrom, and they could be able to achieve the production rate, as well as in particular cases where the hailstorm was there, and due to hailstorm, the percentage of damage of particular crop, they could be able to identify it with this technology. So this was the dashboard of their project. There are a lot of options in which you could also able to identify the satellite mapping of various lands that has been done by this Bhuvan satellite. So this is the GPS mapping of lands. You could be able to see there are various lands are there, and this there are you can able to see there are some greenish area, whereas some whitish portion. So using this GPS mapping, they could be able to identify the how much losses a farmer have, particularly in the case of disaster. So this was a very successful project by Government of India. So that's all from my side. So if anybody have any question, I'm available here.
Probably I have one question on the first case study. I mean, that was very impressive, the way the productivity is improved. Uh, but one question that I have is like, how did the farmers came into picture in the whole, I mean, steps and processes? Like I can see like there are various sensors that
Yes,
got the input, and there should be some reactive. I can see this is a human in the loop process, right? It's not 100% automated. So
yes,
how
yes,
did farmer came
yes,
into
yes,
the
yes.
I mean, how did they got educated, or like how the response act
Yes, yes.
came from farmers? Yeah, probably if you can show some
Actually,
idea.
this project also have one of the part that I have not shown in this picture. Basically, this you could be able to see this cloud server with the machine learning platform. This server is also connected with the weather forecasting system. Okay, so as and when it collect any upset information regarding the upcoming weather, it inform about this to the farmer. For example, particularly in the case of Rajasthan, where in particular in the season of I think January and February, there was a rain in extreme cold situation. So with the in this particular situation, this cherry tomato plant gets suffered from early blight disease. So as and when this cloud platform get information about such upcoming environmental catastrophic effect, it could be able to alert the farmer to cure or to get some remedy to cure their crop with with this upcoming situation. So in that purpose, the farmer the activity comes into this picture, into this project.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Hello, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, myself RP Sinha.
Okay.
Sir, it was very nice. The case study which
Thank you, sir.
represented the agricultural productivity enhancement for the
Thank you,
India,
sir.
which is the major GDP is contributed by the agriculture and in the economical growth. I would
Yes,
like
sir.
to know that like
Yes, sir.
this cyclonic effect recently happened in Chennai or in Kerala, how
Yes,
it
sir.
can be monitored with the agricultural level, means farmer level, what the awareness program is
So,
needed to with the use of this technology.
so as far as the cyclone effect is concerned, we cannot monitor with the use of this technology, because cyclone could also be monitored with the satellite or GPS mapping. So at that situation, I think Government of India has already launched. There are several satellites out there which could be able to forecast such situation, and they could be able to alert the farmer for this upcoming situations. So IoT technology is nothing. It's just facilitate the farmers, or you can say facilitate a person, human being, to collect the data as well as to analyze the data. That's all. The working of this IoT is to just provide the analytical result, nothing more than.
is
IoT
true.
is nothing.
That's
Yes.
why I asked the question that on farmer level, if the data can be reached and with the help of the certain apps, if their
Mhm.
analytical presentation or they can draw the inferences and accordingly, as you told in the case of the uh, pesticides and insecticides safer with the piezo sensors,
Yes.
ultrasonic
Yes, sir.
implementation. So if such situations can be developed as an R&D can be worked on that. So that was my intention to know about, so that being an academic, I can assign certain a small project on the student so that they can.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes. Sure. Yes, it could be done, sir.
Okay, thank you.
One of the question, I think from Thara Devi M, she was asking about how about the cost, sir, to implement such technology. But obvious, if you are going to making a prototype or you can say POC of this model to test your technology, initial cost will be quite high, which incur costing at each and every layer from sensor to the cloud. Okay, but if you are going for the production environment, that the cost will be cut down to the marginal level. Okay, so again, it depend on how the quality of sensors, the implementation of your technology, uh, the precision of your result again will incur your costing. Okay, so at initial level you will have a costing, but there are various funding source from you can obtain fund like DST sponsor AICT sponsors such kind of research projects. So you can funding from that at initial level, and after having a proof of concept, that is POC from your technological side, you can surrender this technology even to the government, even to some of the startups, so that it can be available at the production level and made be available to the public side. Any more query? Any more question?
What would
Okay.
be the approximate cost for the implementation of one sensor node for Vigya, like on an approximate?
So particularly in our case, for particular this Vidya, we have developed this sensor with the around cost around 30 to 35,000. But again, it was this cost was for POC,
Correct.
prototype
Correct.
model only.
I got it.
If we go
Volume.
for the production level, it will be again cut down to the 4 to 5,000.
Got it.
Any more question? And part of this workshop for this day. So tomorrow again we will 9 o'clock sharp and have some practical session and some theoretical session about this IoT technology. So tomorrow I will again take a hands-on session on this IoT, and we will have some hands-on experience about how this sensor get connected, how we can get reading from sensor and transfer to the cloud. All these kind of practical objects will be demonstrated by me myself in the tomorrow's hands-on session. Okay. So again, thanks once again to be there.
Thank you.
So I'm going to disconnect the session. So I request all the participants to they can leave and they mark their attendance if they have not done. So I could able to see only there are 62 responses are there, whereas 65 participants are connected. Okay, so just mention your attendance there.